This video is meant to educate you and perhaps warn you in case you are doing any of these things. Isn't it better to actually get corrected and improve yourself so that you have better success rather than doing things over and over and over again that you are not noticing are actually making other people dislike you? But you're not aware of it because you have never thought about it or nobody has ever corrected you. So this video is here to help you. Maybe raise a little bit of awareness on some topics that really does make oftentimes affluent people dislike you and maybe not want to befriend you. For those of you who do not know, my name is Anna and I run an online finishing school called School of Affluence. That's where I teach women about high society, how to navigate successfully in it, and also how to become more elegant and refined. If you want to start that transformation, just visit schoolofaffluence.com. This is probably one of the most common ones because a lot of the times when newcomers or people who are in affluent circles, they navigate and they might feel deep down a little bit insecure. So to be able to raise their own value and appear more confident, they make this brutal mistake of trying too hard to impress, and especially start with the whole name dropping game. Big no-no. This is such an old trick in the book that never works, but in case it really does make people around you annoyed, and especially affluent people. Affluent people oftentimes don't feel easily impressed by these things. They easily see through whenever you try to do this because a lot of people are doing this. So maybe it impresses an average Joe out there in the wilderness, but definitely not somebody who is more experienced, well-traveled, and international. They have seen and heard it all. So don't try too hard to impress. Truly just be yourself. And even if you have very interesting names that you could drop around and make everybody really impressed, make sure that that information reaches the people in another way, not from your own mouth. Now, the second point usually comes from a very particular type of person, perhaps somebody who is a little bit more opportunistic. I'm talking about asking question after question after question without talking anything about yourself. You're just there interrogating, interviewing, chasing for some sorts of information, and you're not sharing anything yourself. This is extremely intrusive, and especially with people you do not know. It also comes across as very aggressive because you appear as a very opportunistic person who seems to be chasing something or wanting something out of the other person by continuously asking all of these questions. Now, I do speak about in my online training program the importance of showing interest in a person for networking reasons. But the thing is that there is a limit to how many questions you can ask, and this is what you really have to pay attention to. You don't want the other person to feel uncomfortable or to be put on the spot. You also don't want them to feel like you are after something. You don't want to make them feel that you're with them for the wrong reasons. So when you are curious and when you want to ask a lot of questions, it's okay, but just alternate it and blend it out somehow. Make sure you reciprocate by sharing your own stories and make them ask you questions that you actually answer. So it's a very natural back and forth situation without you being too much, what can I find out about you type of attitude. This third, quite important pet peeve I know of a lot of affluent people is that you have to understand one thing. Affluent people, they are not better human beings than the average person. But what affluent people have is that they oftentimes have more wealth, more power, more status, and for that reason they require more privacy and safety than the average person. So a lot of the times affluent people, they do not like it when you have their contact details and you share these contact details to other people for whatever reason it is, even if you're doing the affluent person a favor, without asking for their permission first. It's really important you ask for permission whenever you're giving out somebody's contact details, even if it's, social media, email, especially though phone number and address. Respect people's privacy and respect the fact that people want to be the decision maker and want to be in control over how their confidential information is being shared. Number 4, I don't know if you have watched my video, Are Elegant Women Stiff and Boring? If not, you should definitely watch it because it really touches upon this subject that I'm about to raise. Things that make affluent people dislike somebody if somebody is plain and simple, stiff and boring. There are, of course, affluent people who are boring and stiff themselves, but majority are actually quite normal people. And nobody likes a person who is dead serious the entire time, never smiles, never laughs, never opens up in any way. What happens with these stiff and boring people is that they end up not having much success in high society, regardless if you're a man or a woman. The key to success is truly networking, right? And if you are somebody who have very bad people skills and you are boring and you're not inviting and you're not sharing anything positive about you or can vibrate on a more happy and outgoing energy, then it's going to be very challenging for you to network in high society. So I do recommend to, if you feel touched by that, start thinking about how you can spice yourself up a bit because you will need it on this journey. Another kind of persona that is a little bit similar but might come across as a bit strange to you that I mentioned this, but a lot of the times, affluent people don't like it when you're out there, little miss perfect, little miss nice. You are this little nice girl and you are a little perfect little angel. Not saying now you cannot be nice, you cannot be polite, and you cannot act with good manners. Absolutely not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about when you are kind of being, how can I say, you being very plain in terms of you're just there as a nice girl and you have nothing to say. There's nothing interesting about you. There's no depth. You're just somehow trying too hard to be perfect. And this perfectionism makes you appear very plain and very, very boring. So a lot of the times affluent people, they do like a bit of personality. They do like somebody who can maybe be a little bit of a character or have some form of edginess to them, not in big doses. I'm not talking about you becoming this super flamboyant persona that has to be center of attention and acts like a clown. Absolutely not. Of course, we're talking balance here. Talking about that it's important to add those little touches of personality, of who you are, of what's unique about you, and so on. And not just trying to fit into some form of form, a very rigid form that is, hello, I'm this little nice girl and I'm here to say yes to everything that you ask me for. That's not really what affluent people are looking for. So they will definitely not like you that much if you're this little Mrs. Nice and Perfect girl. Okay, lastly, ladies, and this goes out to all the people with a bit of narcissistic traits in them. Even if you're not a narcissist, you might have inherited a few traits from perhaps your family or somebody else, or maybe you have developed it for some reason. But listen, ladies, people will not like you if you have no curiosity, if you are lacking any form of interest in the other person. And this is so basic, but it really needs to be reminded, because I'm sure you've been in conversation with somebody and you can spot in their eyes that they're just dying for you to stop talking so that they can talk instead and get to say what they want to say. Meaning they couldn't care less what you say, what you think, who you are, what you do, blah, blah, blah. All they want to do is to talk themselves and have their words said and being heard and being seen. Very narcissistic, but unfortunately this is still a very common behavior. But this is probably one of the worst things that put off people the most. You do not want to go that direction because you want to have success in high society after all. We all have goals that we want to achieve, and for this reason I am offering you these type of videos, and I also have my online finishing school where I really teach women in depth on how they can perfect their skills and refine themselves and really achieve success in high society. Because sometimes it's about mastering very fine things that can truly pivot your success and make you achieve the goals that you have set for yourself. If you haven't watched my video, Things You Should Never Tell Affluent People, then make sure you watch that video now. And I will see you in that video.